Here we go. We're going to go live in 3, 2, and 1. Good evening, everybody. This is Mike Tedesco, the editor-in-chief of Wrestleview.com.
And Victoria Tedesco.
Welcome to a very special edition of the Wrestleview Post-Raw Show, number 114. Forget the Raw review. There has been something that's been a-brewing for quite a while. There's been a little beef in the Wrestleview chat room between Victoria and a gentleman who knows so much about wrestling, I'd hate to lose him. But tonight, it's unfortunately his funeral, apparently. Ladies and gentlemen, we got for you here Mr. Andrew Elder. Wearing that damn Fiend shirt, too.
Oh, that was another surprise. He said he didn't get you didn't get your Fiend fix on Friday, so he figured he'd wear the sweater.
Nice.
Hey guys.
Andrew.
Yeah, hey.
Oh my gosh. So, what is going on
I'm
here?
in the graveyard, as you can see. I'm in the graveyard.
He's ready to go. He's ready to go.
Yeah,
But he's wearing a Fiend shirt, so you actually can't kill him. That means Andrew doesn't have to sell anything tonight. You can lob grenades at this man. You can light him on fire. Nothing's going to happen to Andrew Elder tonight.
Yeah.
So, like Mike said, what's going to happen? Well, Mike actually doesn't know what's going to happen, but here's a little backstory as to why Andrew is here tonight. Andrew decided, everyone knows I'm a Miz fan, okay? But Andrew decided that, he doesn't like what's going on with the Miz right now and Morrison. Yeah, that's fine. That's cool. Everyone's entitled to their opinion.
Apparently, it's not cool.
But it's not.
You have given me such shit over the Miz.
But, and I have a list that I keep. Like Jericho had a list. I have a list that I keep, and I have some people who've been on the list more than once. Like, Andrew's been on the list more than once. Daniel's been on the list. Daniel Shell's been on the list more than once. Uncle Billy's been on, one time, which was, last week, 2 weeks ago or last week. But Andrew has been on the list several frickin' times now. He's just pushing my buttons over here. So, he decided to call me out about the Miz. And now Andrew just started a war. There's been battles, but Andrew, you're going to lose the war tonight. And if you notice, everybody, with Andrew's background, it is a premonition of where he's going to wind up because he started with me, Victoria Tedesco, over the Miz.
What the hell what is going on?
So what's going to happen today is we're going to verbally brawl, and we're going to see who wins the brawl. So, Andrew, I'm going to call you out right now.
Oh, my God.
Do you want to start this?
Okay, well, we'll start it. Well, actually, let's put some truth out there. I knew to get on the list to pick on you about the Miz, and if I wouldn't, if I didn't like y'all, and I try to find out, who, your favorite wrestler and stuff. I'm going to keep on poking the bear till I get the response I want. This is the whole thing. This is the style of Memphis wrestling. This is the thing of continually poking the bear, and then you get the big match, the big main event that would be on Monday nights in Memphis, Tennessee, for tons of years, because I've been watching this stuff since I've been 5 years old, and I was, the Memphis territory, and I put the Memphis territory because it spans a whole generation. I mean,
this is true.
At this point, this has been going on in Memphis. Wrestling had been going in Memphis for at least 90 years. Memphis wrestling was almost 90 years old before it just completely died.
That is true. because they scooped up too much of the talent. They made it into a developmental system. Jerry Lawler was on top for too long. Take your pick.
And this, like I'll take with what I'm wearing the Fiend shirt. This is Jerry Lawler booking for Jerry Jarrett would go off for 6 months, and you would have Freddy Krueger coming in, Jason coming in. You would have the Wolfman, Dr. Frank. We had a really talented guy who actually was Freddy, Tommy Gilbert, the dad of Doug and Eddie Gilbert. And one time, Jerry Lawler goes, "Hey, I'm going to put a mask on him, and he's going to be an ace of spades." And it's like, we had some talented guys there. I mean, there was one time Duke Myers, he got saddled with 2 horrible gimmicks, the Colossus, which Andy Kaufman brought in, the Colossus. And then Duke Myers tagged up with Frank Morrell, and they wore devil masks, and they were the Prince of Darkness and Lucifer as a tag team, and they were part of Jimmy Hart's, stable, the First Family. But
listen,
I mean,
Andrew, listen. I don't know if you started already, but here, I'm going to stop you right now because you've been talking way too long. You want to give all these introductions and your knowledge of wrestling and everything, and that's fine and all. You can have the years and experience on me all you want. And listen, I am technically a considered newbie, but not really, okay? If there's anything that I know, okay, is The Miz. So you can talk all you want about who you know and territories and all that. And again, your basis and your knowledge, that's fine. But here I am explaining to you, don't come at me and don't come at The Miz, because even though, again, I don't have the longevity, but I have the knowledge behind that man. And that man has provided a great deal of talent to this company and has really paid his dues in this business. So I'm going to sit here and defend my favorite superstar in his honor. So you're not going to come in here into my show, into my territory, all right, and think that you're going to start with me. Don't make that freaking face. Who the hell do you think you are? I'll start with you too. I'll get the both of you going here.
I'm just standing around. But just know that Andrew's a Memphis fan, so he's going to have some flash paper in his pocket and be throwing it in your eyes in 2 seconds.
I don't care. Come at me, Andrew.
Now, you want me to admit something to you? You want me to actually admit something? That I actually like The Miz?
What?
That I really like The Miz? Just right now, he's in a horrible position of this, stuck with John Morrison. They're acting like 2 goofs, just being goofy. And then they, I'm like, you stick the money in the bank on him. You got tired of Otis because Otis was doing nothing with it. Now Miz is stuck, and you guys don't have nothing for him other than this Bad Bunny thing, which is okay. It's going to be entertaining and that. But, to me, The Miz is a guy who gets what he's supposed to be. He's supposed to get on your nerves. He's supposed to get on my nerves. He's supposed to get on everybody's nerves.
This is true.
And
Yeah,
he
okay.
understands what he's supposed to do. And he would have, I would put The Miz back into the Memphis territory as just a heel. Now, face-wise, if they're sticking with that goofy baby face stuff, no. Miz is an excellent heel, keeping that annoying guy. And I'm going to tell you another thing I like about Miz. He took crap off of the guy that we're not supposed to mention, Chris Benoit.
He did.
He's taking crap. He was told, you get out of the locker room and stuff like that. You get out of the locker room. And it took The Undertaker when Chris Benoit, is gone. It took The Undertaker going out there like, why is he dressing in the hallway? What's going on? And they said, Chris told him to stay out. And then and he takes it off of these Chris Benoit fans that will get up there in his face, and he takes it and he gives back. So, I mean, I respect him that, and I respected the guy because I watched him on The Real World, and I was like, man, this guy wants to be a wrestler, and he's already got his...
So wait a minute, though. So
rigged.
I have a question for you then. So you're telling me that you respect The Miz, you respect where he's come from, you respect where he started, you like him as a character, he does his job about getting on your nerves, but then you want to come... Yes, he's stuck maybe in this little rut right now, but I don't see it as like a particular rut because I've seen ruts. Don't speak.
What is this accent that you're doing right now?
You're not speaking right now. No one's told you. You're not involved. Again, okay? You're not involved.
All right.
So you're telling me all these things, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, okay, that you respect him and you like him, but you're still coming at me in the chat about you're not feeling the storyline and everything else. So I'm just a little confused, Andrew, that you're telling me all the right things that I want to hear, but why come at me? Why me? What did I do to you?
Why not you?
Oh, don't get started with Ricochet, Mike. Well, you want to know why? Because I actually wanted to be on your list. That's the thing I wanted to. Because I like you, and I'm gonna pick at you. I only pick on the people I like, and I will find out, like, something of it, and I knew I could just get you with The Miz. And I was watching what Mike was doing, and I was like, okay, I'm just gonna egg on like Mike's egging on. I'm gonna egg on too, and I'm gonna get on that list, because if the only way I was getting on the list is if I didn't show up to the show. So I'm like, I want to be on, because I'd be honest,
Daniel.
I want to be permanently on the list. If that would be a gimmick for me in the group, is I'm permanently on Victoria's list.
And you are.
Can you have it?
Yeah.
Correct.
Correct.
He's on the list.
He is on the list. And
yeah.
Andrew, I don't know, Andrew, it may take a very long time for you to get off the list at this point. I mean, it's honestly, you've dug so deep, and you honestly, and I'm gonna give you credit for this one. You did your job. You talk about Miz and how he did it. He does his job of getting on people's nerves. You did your job. You knew if you said if you poke the bear about the Miz, I'm gonna come at you. So really, you did accomplish what you needed to. But at the end of the day, keep poking, because I could poke 10 times harder back.
I believe you can, and I believe you can, and that's why I'm glad that you do, because it wouldn't be fun if you didn't poke back.
Now, Andrew, you were very conciliatory. You're very kind, but the chat room is saying you were like a politician right now to work your way out of this.
Hey, all politicians are heels.
Wait, I'm the face?
You're the face, yes.
Ooh,
I
yeah.
mean, if Charlotte Flair can be a face for kicking her father in the balls every Monday night on Raw, you can be a face for beating up on poor Andrew Elder over here.
Yeah, the more fun, and you hear about is being a heel, and that's what I had thought about and wanted to get into wrestling, and I wanted to be a heel. Now, when I was younger, I thought about being a face because I like the Dynamite Kid and stuff like that. But I got to the point where, like, just being picked on at school and stuff, I was like, I don't want to be a face. I'd rather be a heel. A heel.
I remember watching this.
Because heels get more over than the faces. It's harder for a face to get over.
Except for this situation, if I'm the face, I'm getting more over right now. Just saying.
Victoria's over.
Oh yeah.
Just saying. In this situation, I'm winning right now. So, does everyone agree in the chat? Is everyone agreeing with that? Am I schooling Andrew at the moment?
I think so. Quentin Walter says, from this day onward, her name will forever be known as Sensational Queen Victoria Tedesco.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. But in all seriousness, I will say this. Like, Andrew and I did speak in length over the past week about how all this is going to come about. And now this is kind of going, like, behind the scenes of what happened.
I was really hoping you two were going to kick the shit out of each other.
Yeah,
But
we
Andrew is even though he's permanent, Andrew, like I said, you're permanently on my list. You are. But I think in all sincerity, you're a good guy. And we really do appreciate the knowledge that you do bring forth in the chat and for this show. You know, because even like, Andrew, you know this, even if Mike's like stuck on like, oh, wait, what year was that? Or like what match was, who did that match up? You're like right there. Like you're not, and I know you're not looking it up. You have that knowledge right in your head. And and like, that's, you know, it's cool that you do bring that forth to the show. So like, we do appreciate that.
I mean, sometimes I have to jog my memory and go, okay,
Right.
and then I have to go look because it's like, and stuff, and, you know, and things, and I've been at different, like, I mean, just to put in about my wrestling thing, I've been at different, like, things that happened. I was at the 1997 house show riot, Memphis house show riet of
Yeah, you were saying that.
I think Meltzer and those people have gotten half of the matches wrong. It just kept building up the whole night. The Rock was not there. They say The Rock was there. He wasn't. It was D'Lo Brown taking on the Undertaker in the casket match. They say it, but Rock didn't care to show. I don't know what was going on with. And usually at house shows, the big guys didn't show up anyway. Undertaker was working hurt. But it started off first, and I'll just try to make it short as I can. But it started out first with Goldust coming out, and that was when he was doing that, the artist formerly known. And with Luna Vachani, he started singing Jingle Balls, and that just like started teeing people off. And then what really did, and they'll say Shawn Michaels, but it's not really Shawn Michaels. It was the Godwins against the Headbangers, and everybody was like rooting for the Headbangers, and then Henry Godwin does the stupidest thing. He gets out, he pulls the Confederate flag out. He pulls the Confederate flag out in front of and pulled it out in front of his black family, sitting at ringside, and he yells. Him and Phineas yell, "The South shall rise again," and that just eggs stuff on. And then Shawn Michaels comes out and does his stuff, you know, hey, you Tennessee Hicks, you rednecks, and all this stuff. and then that's when everything just went. They started throwing stuff and everything, and you know, and Shawn and them left, and then Dude Love Mick Foley tried to come out and make it better. That didn't work. Lawler and Jarrett come out and say, oh, you know, they're not going to come out, and the people threw, and the funniest thing is Jeff Jarrett got hit by a fountain drink. Somebody threw, you know, their soda at him and hit him in his jacket, and it was like, okay, it's over. And we had a friend that worked security, and he said, well, you think that night was bad? It was worse in Little Rock because they were burning. People started burning chairs, burning shirts.
Oh, God.
They had to call the state police and the state troopers and the local police, and they had to use tear gas to disperse the people. And
this time period might be the last of like the great pro wrestling riots. I mean, you know, Terry Funk has shared stories before about actually, you know, being stabbed by fans.
Yeah, I know there's a good, if anybody ever wants to check it out, it's called Memphis Heat, the true story Memphis Wrestling. It was done by a local guy. He just went through, and there's one part where Sputnik Monroe talks about in Topeka, Kansas, he got a baby thrown at him. You know, like somebody threw Lily at him.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's insane.
Yeah.
I could see it though. I could see it.
I could totally see it. I mean, from what you're telling me.
That's pretty damn wild.
Wow.
Well,
I mean, and again, this is where Andrew brings forth a sense of like, you know, these stories too, to this show. You know, it's like I said, it's always nice that when we get to interact with everybody, because at the end of the day, you know, we talk to each other, but we made so many friends and connections through the site and through this show.
Yes, we have.
So honestly, it really is just like, and we want to do this more. Like, and and listen, everybody, you don't have to get on my list in order to get on the show.
Victoria doesn't have to kick your ass.
I don't have to kick your ass verbally in order for you to get on the show. But we do like, to have different perspectives and different opinions. So it's nice. Andrew, if you wouldn't mind, would you like to stay and join us while we do this review of Raw?
Yeah, sure. I like to because, I'd give my thoughts on some of these matches. That'd be fun.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
There you go.
All right,
Yeah.
so everybody, Andrew's going to stay along. Andrew, obviously, we don't even need to ask the chat. I won, clearly. Again, it wasn't this brawl that everybody expected, but it was a verbal brawl. And I think I won. I do. I think I won.
I mean,
I did my job. I got you over. So
yeah.
I get my paycheck, and I'm good.
That's it. Pin me, pay me.
But the only thing I want to mention about Memphis Heat is because this is not this. And I think it's on Amazon Prime. And I think Apple. You can get it. It's just good because I saw it actually. They had the movie Fear. They did that. It was really great because it's not a Vince McMahon WWE piece. Because with the WWE stuff, it's always this territory was this sucked, and at the end it's always this sucked, and stuff. It's trying to make it bad. It's like and right now I know just put the one thing. Vince is now in what he chilled out. He's now in that area. He's in that area of no new ideas, nothing. He's in the area of the territories where what he says, that stuff stops. Now
that's a good point. That's a really good point.
He's the number one. He's the number one guy, and I know. And I've watched a little bit of AEW. It's complimentary. It's not a challenge to WWE. It's not. I like it. I'm pretty sure, like how Doug said, the money's there. They probably will stay around unless they just get tired of it. But it's not at the level that it's going to overtake that. And even if it did, then you're stuck with wrestling, as I told Ann Martin, that I grew up with, was like, oh, that's nice. You watch that, oh, that's nice. Or you get the usual, hey, don't you know it's fake and all that stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So it's just, if the WWE's gone, even at the bad level that we are with wrestling, and we could be in a death spiral, I don't know, but wrestling probably will stay around. But it's not going to be at a level that it has been. And let's have a golden age. And both golden ages, because I went through the 85, but there is the 40s, 50s golden age, and it did the same thing, and it plateaued, and then it came back in the 80s, and then it's plateaued again, and it's and
this time period of wrestling, usually like these golden eras of wrestling, they usually associate with WWF heavily, like the golden era of, the Golden Goose and Hulk Hogan, and then you get Steve Austin and The Rock, but you also had other companies that made it so good because they were pushing WWF to be good at the time. So you had NWA in the 80s pushing them to be better because they were the only ones left over.
All the territories, and I know y'all, and I don't mean to take the show completely over or anything, but y'all were talking about the styles, and it's like, yeah, you could get somebody, if they didn't get over, you saw them somewhere else, and they could get over. And then, like, the guy, like, you could send him somewhere if he sucks as a face. You send him somewhere and he goes a heel. Or somebody like even John Cena would be up in, we'll say, the New York territory, and he'd be a face, but he'd come back down. He'd come to Memphis and he'd be a heel. And you just got that. But one thing that killed the territories off was they stuck with a star like Dusty, Jerry Lawler, stuff. If they even sent that big star off, the ticket, the sales, and all this would taper off. The promoter got scared and they pulled them back.
Yep.
And you didn't have the time to say, "Oh, I'm missing him enough." They wouldn't give enough time to say, "Oh, I miss him," and we'll pull him back. And they didn't build anybody else up. And the biggest thing was, in the end of Memphis Wrestling was when they became like a WWE territory, it was under that. I could see Jerry wanted to move on, and he tried to get his son Brian to be that star. Biggest good thing was, only thing I could say one thing about Jeff Jarrett was he moved on because he wasn't going to ever be the star. But Brian just, had his demons and stuff and just couldn't deal with.
But they
could get him over. And then people got, the biggest thing is, and some people are nostalgic for it here in Memphis and stuff, but the biggest thing, you just can't produce that type of show anymore locally or anything.
No, and you're 100% right about that. It's a different time, and honestly, like, we have talked about it in length, and I'm glad you did, bring it up, for tonight's show, being that your guest appearance here. It's a different time, and we spoke about this in length heavily with the territories. They really did have a place, a time and a place, and I still think that, it would have been nice to keep that sort of dynamic within the company, because again, you're getting variety, you're getting different styles, you're just getting a different perspective, and that's important, and I think that's where
absolutely
we, when we talk about these shows, which we're going to talk about in just now a minute or so, but that's why things do fall flat a lot of times, because you're not getting that variety. If you're getting that one style, and you and Roy actually spoke about this too the other day.
Yes.
On SmackDown, when you get that one style of wrestling and you people coming up within the same company and they're not getting exposed to this, that, and the other thing, it becomes very hard for, that passion and that, that drive to stay consistent. Because, and like you just mentioned before, Mike, as well, that the other companies in these other areas, they really did drove WWF, right?
Yeah,
into their stories.
They made them better.
And
once we lost WCW, it was just too long before the next company came around. WWE really got kind of set in their ways, and now AEW is doing some really interesting things. I love that they have this working relationship with Impact Wrestling, because it only helps Impact. And I mean, if Impact Wrestling can stick around for as long as it has, it's been 20 years of Impact Wrestling now. AEW can stick around for just as long, I think.
Yeah.
But now you work in New Japan into that, and you got a really good thing going here.
I mean, I would like to see them work with a lot of other companies, and I think they're looking, and maybe they do it, that they do a territory system. WWE could benefit from that, because you get somebody, small audience, and for me, like, that's one thing with territories was there was a smaller audience, and they could get on TV, and they could learn now what WWE is out of the performance center. If they get in there, is going right on TV and go, hey, do this. And then, one point I did think is they're too much scripting it and not putting bullet points and say, hey, this is that. But you take those bullet points and say, and let those performers build on that. And, of course, we don't have managers for the people who are nervous as everything. And
like Ricochet.
Ricochet needs a manager. Ricochet would do great if he had I can't think of anybody's face right now, but even a heel manager would be like Jimmy Hart or something like that to get, and Bobby the Brain Heenan.
I would put Ricochet with Robert Stone at this point. Anything. Just give him somebody who can talk for him. The guy can't talk.
Yeah.
Anybody.
Why me?
So why not me?
Why not me?
Why not me? Yeah.
Wait, Victoria, give us a why not me, then we'll get into the Raw review.
Okay. Why not me?
Perfect. Said with just as much conviction and enthusiasm as he said as well. Why not me?
Why not me?
All right. Let's say hello to everybody else in the chat room that's been hanging out with us. We got Jerome Weiland here. We got I Am Alpha. We got Jamel here. We got Quentin Walters. I saw Goosey in there. I saw Nafis. I saw Sweet Lou in there at some point, I believe. If I have not said hello to you yet, make sure you say hi to us.
I know we got Daniel in there. I wonder if Daniel, I've been teasing him that he's been salty from the Super Bowl because, he's a Patriots fan, but Tom Brady is with the Bucs, and he's been complaining about that. So
he's got to get over it. He's got to get over it. Tom Brady's the best to ever do it. He's the best to ever do it. So we do have Daniel Show. We got Corey Howell in there. We got Uncle Billy. We got DeAndre
Jamal.
Sasson was in there. We have Mashun Walls. We got Roy Nemmer, the host of the SmackDown Post Show. I hope everybody enjoyed that.
Guys, by the way.
That was a lot of
great.
fun.
That was great.
Hey, I wouldn't mind coming on Roy's show sometime. After SmackDown, I would like to do that.
There you go. See, Roy, you have another co-host now. Thank God. we need people on Roy's show. We need them. We got, I said Machine Walls already. We got Lamar Lawton here. All right, let's get to the Raw review. Chris LG's in the chat room as well. Hello, Chris. All right. Taker Rules. Hi to the First Lady of Wrestleview and the best SmackDown co-host. Wow. Oh, thank you very much. Oh, my goodness. Roy's the best. All right, everybody. So, I don't really have anything bad to say about Raw tonight. I actually thought it was pretty good, except for a couple of things on there, but we're a week away from Elimination Chamber, essentially. It's a week from Sunday. So I guess we're like just a little over 2 weeks, actually. When they say like a week from Sunday, that's like the most bullshit thing on earth. It's like just say it's 2 weeks away, like a week from Sunday. Like I get it, like the whole marketing thing, but come on. Like now I'm like thinking Elimination Chamber is this Sunday, and I'm kind of disappointed. Because I actually think they have a pretty good card so far.
I have to agree. I mean, listen, although I am going to cry once the Chamber comes, because that was our last show.
The Elimination Chamber was the very last pay-per-view to take place in front of a paid crowd, and we were there.
I remember that. My last show was back in January of last year. Right before the Rumble, about 2 weeks before the Rumble, mine was at Memphis for SmackDown. So.
Oh, Andrew, I think I actually remember that because I remember you saying that it was either like post-COVID when we were talking about our last show, or you might have even mentioned it like on our show in the chat at some point. I do remember you saying that you went to a show last year.
Yes, he went to the SmackDown that was in Memphis, like right at the beginning of January.
Yeah.
So the Elimination Chamber is looking pretty good. Now, we've been talking for the last while that Raw essentially seems to be written like as it goes, and the right hand doesn't know what the left hand's doing, as George Bush would say. The left hand knows what the right hand's doing, that kind of thing. They never advertise anything that should probably be advertised. Like 2 weeks ago, it was like the return of Edge, who wound up entering the Royal Rumble at number 1 and winning the whole damn thing. There's matches that don't get advertised. Like tonight, there was a tables match. There was a couple different things that just weren't advertised that maybe people would want to know. But the most important one, Shane McMahon is back on Raw. What the hell?
The only stuff they were advertising was like yesterday, I think, and it was coming out piecemeal, which I guess is better than nothing because, normally it's nothing. You go into the show and don't know what's going on.
It's so true. Now, like AEW, like they announce stuff so far in advance. You could probably figure out what's going to be happening like 3 weeks from now. You can tell the entire card, but they always tell you literally everything you're going to see on Wednesday. Probably because they know that they have a product that people would like see like the card and be like, you know what? I want to tune in to see that. I think part of me thinks that WWE doesn't advertise a lot of their stuff because somebody's going to see like, oh, Naomi versus Shayna Baszler and say, fuck that. No way am I watching that. No
Which
way.
Is something that, but
they can only make cards that would drive people away.
But on the flip side of that though, you should take your chances because I would like to see somebody like that because I like Naomi. So
right. So maybe
so you would want to promote anything you could promote it. Like even if you think it's gonna fall flat, take your chances because either way, you got to get viewership somehow.
Yeah.
Andrew, what do you want to say?
and then I know we're getting into it, but Shane wasn't there that long anyway. It's like, hey, go. It's like. Not only he's not promoting, but he's not, it's just, and it was kind of one of those weird segments, kind of.
It was definitely weird, and it's kind of, like, to me, because there's no doubt that Edge is absolutely going to be going with Roman Reigns at this point. It just really seems that way. I mean, yes, they are kind of, like, giving Vince an out so that he could, like I was talking about this with Roy, where Vince could just wake up in a fever dream and say, no, I want it to be Edge versus Drew McIntyre. That's the money match. So they've laid the groundwork so Vince can change his mind anytime over the next month and a half before Edge makes his decision. Where the hell was I going with this?
You were talking about with Sheamus. I mean with Shane. With
Shane. So like the thing with Sheamus, like that came out of nowhere because it was like, oh, Edge is definitely going against Roman Reigns, so now we have to pull the trigger on Sheamus. But now it's like, okay, pump the brakes. No Sheamus match now at Elimination Chamber. It's going to be Drew McIntyre defending the title in the Elimination Chamber with Shane McMahon out there. I was marveling and just losing my mind on Wrestleview Live just a mere 8 days ago. Well, now it's actually 9 days ago because it's 12 o'clock here on the East Coast. About how they seem to be going with their young talent and in the Women's Royal Rumble. The two of their youngest stars that they have, were the final two in the Rumble.
Yeah.
And I was like, good. They're finally going to go with this. No more legends. No more bullshit. I saw Shane McMahon come out there, and then Drew McIntyre confronts him backstage and is like, oh, our history. And I'm like, what history? What history are you talking about? That can only mean one thing. There is a very, very, very good chance that it's Drew McIntyre versus Shane McMahon at WrestleMania, or Shane McMahon's going to be managing Sheamus into WrestleMania. Tell me I'm wrong there.
It looks that way. And I was like, what history is there? And I think the announcers were trying to get over that, Drew was at one time Shane's bodyguard in his group or something. I'm like, I don't remember any of this.
Oh,
stuff.
yes. At the Extreme Rules when it was Reigns versus Undertaker, when it was Reigns and Undertaker versus Shane and Drew. I forgot about that.
Yeah,
even though we were there for that.
Yeah.
But who remembers that?
I know.
No one remembers that.
I don't think many people.
It was like
it's so out of left field. It's so out of left field that you should remember that stuff.
Right. It's like, come on. Like we're supposed to remember that. Also, another thing I found really interesting about the segment. So Shane was basically there with Adam Pearce. They announced the Elimination Chamber match, which is it'll be Drew McIntyre defending the title inside the Elimination Chamber against AJ Styles, Randy Orton, Jeff Hardy, The Miz, and Sheamus. After that, Drew McIntyre confronts Shane backstage, like I already said. But Shane, and he's like, I promised Sheamus this match. I said that he was going to get a singles match. And correct me if I'm wrong. Somebody just correct me if I'm wrong here. But am I crazy, or did Shane McMahon say Drew McIntyre versus Sheamus is not a big enough match for a pay-per-view?
Yeah, I heard that. And I'm like, wait a minute.
The same thing.
I was like, wait a minute. So now you're saying, you had built this or pushing this feud up, and now you're saying, oh, it's not good enough for pay-per-view.
Right. And this could potentially be the WrestleMania match. And he just said that it wasn't good enough for Elimination Chamber. What?
And then I'm going to say this too. They make Ann Pierce look like a moron out there.
It's not hard to do.
No, not too much. But it's like, I forgot. Shane said something about either you came up with it or something of you came up with this thing, and Ann Pierce out there looking like a deer in headlights, like not knowing what to do next.
And Shane was kind of tripping over his words. He did not have a great night.
Honestly, I wonder if it was just like they called Shane at last minute and said, you want to be on TV because Stephanie, Triple H, and of course Vince isn't going to be there, and they don't, you want to be on TV.
It wouldn't surprise me.
That's exactly what happened.
Honestly, because we talk about this all the time, how they don't really have a particular plan. And I can definitely see them be like, hey, Shane, get yourself there.
Yep.
Let's go.
Figure it out, damn it.
Figure it out, and that's it. But
God damn it.
But Mike, you were not wrong. I think everybody heard the same thing, and I think everybody was like,
I just couldn't believe my ears. Like the company wrote a line, because they write all this crap. They wrote a line where they said the match that they're probably going to present to you at WrestleMania is not big enough for the Elimination Chamber. Okay, thanks.
Sure. sure. Thank
Next.
you.
So we have AJ Styles out there, and he really makes fun of Adam Pearce here to the point where I'm like, oh, maybe they're gonna do like there's something. Maybe Adam Pearce takes a lot of crap. He got beat up by Roman Reigns and all that stuff, and he finally got over on Reigns. But I mean, is there a possibility of AJ Styles versus Adam Pearce here? Or am I crazy? Do I have a fever right now? I don't know.
I mean, I don't know if I mean, it's not something that I technically would go, oh, I like to see that. But, I mean, because
that's never stopped them before.
Like, but no, it don't stop them. I hope they wouldn't make it there. Oh, I hope they're not even watching this. Make it the main event or something because
I don't think so. I don't think so.
I mean,
there's slight possibility of them having a match with AJ, but I don't know. It doesn't benefit AJ to me, but whatever.
No, it doesn't. It definitely doesn't. I think he's just probably just doing like his thing of being the heel, making fun of like the little guy and stuff like that. But Adam Pearce will probably get over him with something else. Now that led us to AJ Styles versus Jeff Hardy, which Jeff Hardy, number one, has been languishing in this horrible feud with Elias that they blew off with the Symphony of Destruction match, and then all of a sudden got resurrected like a couple weeks ago where he's facing Jackson Riker and Elias and this whole entire thing. And then last week we had Carlito on. No mention of Carlito tonight, no Carlito at all. But now Jeff Hardy's in the Elimination Chamber going for the WWE title. 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, he got pinned by Jackson Riker. How the hell does that make any sense?
No, well, there's that disconnect that we talk about constantly.
Well, there's no such thing as like, a hierarchy of like, or like, like a number, like, I don't know why they keep saying number one contender. That implies that there's a list of people that
there is no list.
Deserving.
This is just, hey, you're available. Let's go.
Yeah.
People always ask me, they're like, Mike, do you ever see like WWE bringing out like a ranking system? I'm like, no, because they can't. Imagine WWE, Andrew, trying to maintain a ranking system.
I mean,
imagine when they're writing Raw.
AEW doing their ranking, but they're doing okay with it.
Right, but they have stuff booked out months in advance.
I don't know. WWE doing it just, honestly, it would expose too much stuff. It's just, it would be so stupid.
Well, how are they supposed to do a ranking system when they're writing the finish to Raw at 9:30 Eastern?
Exactly.
It's like, come on.
Well, remember they tried that weird Raw and SmackDown
power rankings.
A power ranking thing, and it was like, it was the stupidest thing I'd ever seen.
Well, I actually when Shane came out, I was like, oh my God, they're going to reinstitute Raw Underground. There's going to be something horrible. And instead, he's like, all of a sudden, he's like making these matches. I'm like, what the hell's going on here?
Yeah.
Anyway, so Jeff Hardy's been in this horrible feud with Elias and stuff like that. Now that's over, I guess, because Carlito got involved or whatever. Now Jeff Hardy looks like he's excited to be back at work again because he looked miserable during this entire Elias feud, getting pinned by Jackson Riker. That's got to put anybody in a bad mood, I think.
It would put me in a bad mood.
And he looked reinvigorated here. I don't know if it's just working with AJ Styles, and AJ Styles can work with anybody, but I thought this was a really good match.
It was a great match, and especially the beginning of Raw. It definitely, the two of them especially, they have unique styles, but they work together very well. And I just liked it. It was just fun to watch.
Yeah.
And I do know what you mean. And Andrew, tell me if you agree with us. I do feel like Jeff Hardy definitely was like, yeah, I feel good going to work today.
Yeah.
I don't have to.
To a point, I think he was miserable being with Matt Riddle. I think
yes. Oh yeah, what happened with that? The Hardy Bros.
Yeah, I have no idea. It's like every week. It's like one week you'll think this is going on, and the next week it just stops. It just stops.
Yeah. He's got a little reprieve until the next thing that they after the chamber match, then it's like, what's the next thing that they're gonna do to Nate?
Until Vince realizes again that Jeff Hardy's over 40, and like, oh God, he's old.
40 now.
You gotta crush him. Yeah. Book him out. It's like, Vince, you should book yourself out. You're 76 years old. What's going on here, buddy? Anyway, it was a good match. I can't remember the last time I saw Jeff Hardy tap out. but he tapped out to the calf crusher tonight. I thought they told a really good story. I like sometimes they do those things where like they tweak the knee in the middle of the match and it's so telegraphed and it's so like, oh God, that's so stupid. But this one kind of came like, it really surprised me. When he went down, I was like, oh, he's not acting. I actually thought that he actually tweaked his knee on the slingshot. And then they're like, oh, he's had this knee injury for weeks. I'm like, wow, what a great callback. I thought that was really good. It played really well in the finish. AJ Styles, did a great job targeting the knee. It looked realistic. The calf crusher was just a perfect finish because, Jeff Hardy gets him down with a twist of fate, but he's too injured. He takes too long getting to the top rope, jumps off for the swanton, misses, and then he gets put in the calf crusher and he taps out. I was like, that was a good finish. Like, this is a hot start to Raw all of a sudden.
Yeah, it was pleasantly surprising to see that a stronger start than usually in past weeks. Usually like the first match too, it's either hit or miss with these Raws, but this was definitely, a good one to start off the show with and to, possibly, keep people engaged the rest of the night into watching the rest of the show.
Right. I'm trying to see if when's the last time he submitted or anything like that.
I have no idea. Andrew, any recollection?
I couldn't remember. I couldn't remember when the last time he tapped out of anything.
It had to be like something like probably was like somebody like Kurt Angle or something like that. I'm sure he's tapped out to them.
Ago?
Yeah. Well, what about has he faced Bobby Lashley and?
Oh, the Hurt Lock. Yeah, that's it.
The Hurt Lock. Okay, that's probably what it was. The Hurt Lock.
This is why we need Andrew.
Yeah, that's definitely it.
Literally, Andrew is like an encyclopedia for for anything wrestling. This is why we.
Yeah, and then frickin' me the idiot. I go on Pro Fight DB and I'm looking at all this stuff. 3 submissions in a row. That shows you how memorable the last month and a half has been of wrestling. Christ's sake.
Oh my gosh.
And he also tapped out to Samoa Joe in December 2018. Probably the week right before your SmackDown taping there, Andrew.
Yeah, probably so.
Anyway, it was a good match. Apparently Jeff Hardy taps out more than I care to remember. This was good stuff. So we have the New Day versus Retribution. Kofi Kingston's cleared for action. This was, you know what? Like usually just by default when Retribution comes out, I just hate it. I just think it's terrible. And yes, they are still the worst stable that's ever happened to professional wrestling. That started off with like a big push and then it just got taken away so fast. Maybe I can't think of any examples in history like that, Andrew. I don't know if you can.
I don't. I can't think of. I mean, I think the only thing was maybe the Truth Commission, and they started out down here in Memphis.
Right.
It's the South African Truth Commission. I'm like, yeah, that's great. That's great. Yeah, bring up apartheid. That's a great storyline.
Yeah, right. But I mean, WWE's done way worse. I mean, we had Sergeant Slaughter and Hulk Hogan with the Iraq War, and I mean, there's nothing more tasteless than watching WrestleMania 7, and Hulk Hogan pins Sergeant Slaughter, the Iraqi sympathizer, Sergeant Slaughter, and Gorilla Monsoon exclaims, "The war is over!" Like, you are the tackiest son of a bitch I've ever seen in my entire life. I can't believe they did that.
Shocking.
And they originally weren't going to go with Slaughter. It was going to be Tugboat.
Oh my God.
Yes, Bruce Pritchard actually on his show said they originally wanted to be. He was going to be Sheik Tugboat.
What the? Oh my God.
The only thing I remember of that show is that Conrad got all on him about Rick Rude, and it just made Bruce so pissed. Because he was like, why didn't y'all go with Rick Rude? And there was a rumor about Hope that they wanted to do with, like, what Rude and Jake Roberts did, and Rude came out and, put the moves on Linda Hogan.
I would have loved to see Linda McMahon get the moves.
Yeah. And Rick Rude was going to put on Linda Hogan, and I guess, Hope didn't want that going on or something. Who knows?
Well, I mean, we were having a good
Yeah.
conversation. We were having some good talk today in the Wrestling Media page about Shawn Michaels, thinking he's gonna be doing a trilogy with Hogan, and Hogan's like, "That don't work for me, brother." Even in 2005, he could still pull those strings. The Hulkster.
Well, Taker learned that right off. Being young guy, and Hogan faked that Taker hurt him, and Mark for his thing was like, everybody told him, Hogan's just pulling bullshit on you, and he was like, he talked on one of the shows, like, yeah, I got it. He said, I was respectful to Hogan when he came, but he was like, underneath, I was like, yeah, I know what you're all about.
Yeah. Taker, I heard that story too from Taker, where he's like, and he's like, I watched the video and the guy's head didn't even come anywhere near the mat. Like what the hell? Like I did that. I did everything perfectly safe, and he's just being a dick. Like when I heard that story, though, it reminded me of this story that Vin told me about one of his friends that he got Victoria's brother. He got into a I don't know if I should tell this on the air, but the guy got into a car accident, got like rear-ended, and like it was fine. It was like a tiny little fender bender. But his friend like doubled over in the car and was pretending that he couldn't move. And the cops are like, "Sir, can you get up?" He's like, "I can't move. The ambulance come out. There's nothing wrong with him, but he was trying to get like more insurance money or something. I don't know. It's like, it was hilarious. But like that was my immediate thought when Hogan was pulling that bullshit on a young, impressionable, poor Undertaker. Anyway, so Retribution came in so horrible, but lately, Mustafa Ali has been doing these network exclusive promos. He's done some Raw Talk things that have kind of gotten some traction. Mustafa Ali is like the best thing going right now. Like Retribution's horrible, but I think with the passion of Mustafa Ali, it can kind of carry it to make it not so bad. And there's only one storyline that they could possibly do, which is what's up,
babe?
Oh, God. There's only one possible storyline that they can do, which really is Mustafa Ali versus Kofi Kingston. So this is like the only thing that makes sense for Retribution. I thought this was really good, just with Mustafa Ali on commentary kind of yelling through the whole entire thing. I enjoyed this, and it was good to see Kofi Kingston back, too.
BRB.
Victoria's going to go take care of the baby.
The little fiend is up.
The little fiend is up.
But the only thing with Mustafa Ali, I kind of got a little bit annoyed because he got too loud. I don't know if that's that WWE sound problem that Doug talks about, which is true, but he just got too loud and he got too just like worked up. And it's kind of funny that this Retribution storyline, which is the only good storyline to come out of it, is that Ali hated Kofi so bad he created this group just to get back at Kofi. But, I mean, look, we went from it being Vince McMahon's idea of a political anti-fire thing to now.
Yes.
And, my favorite part tonight was Xavier Woods going, "Yeah, I beat all of y'all. We've beaten all of you. I want reckoning. I want reckoning. Yeah, where's reckoning at?"
That was actually really funny. That was actually really, really funny.
Yeah, and that was, and interesting is, no Mia, but Keith Lee was there. No Mia, Keith was there.
That was definitely interesting. And
honestly, to me, I would just say, do like they did with Mercedes and quietly send her back to NXT and just, and she's got kind of a little bit of an out on Twitter because she says Reckoning is her evil twin, so she does have a kind of a little bit of an out she can get out of it. But I just send her back to NXT and just be down with the guys. And of course, there's, as we joke around, he is Flapjack, not Slapjack.
I know. I keep calling him Flapjack ever since that very first time we ever talked about.
I sometimes call him Pancake.
Yeah.
With the horrible Jason mask. He has the horrible Jason mask.
Speaking of bad masks, they all their masks are horrible. Every single time. Yeah. Every single time these guys wrestle, they're always adjusting their masks. I actually feel really bad for them. They're really trying their hardest to keep it on. Mia Yim has her debut match on Monday Night Raw, which I'm sure, for every wrestler, I don't care, what they say, it's got to be, you know, a dream come true when you wind up on, you know, network television and you're wrestling for WWE. I don't care, you know, if it's just a squash match or what. The very first fuck move with Dana Brooke, and that stupid mask comes flying off, and the announcers have to pretend they don't know it's Mia Yim, and it's like, oh my god, what a disaster! And she never recovered from that. She had 2 matches, and that was it.
And this is the instance where you're kind of glad there is no crowd, because the crowd would just shit all over it.
Oh god, yes, absolutely they would have.
Yeah.
But this was actually really well done. I really liked Mustafa Ali on commentary. I thought he did a great job, kind of, you know, with his passion, yelling at Retribution. I could absolutely see him facing Kofi at like WrestleMania or something like that.
I think that's the build up. It goes off at WrestleMania, and that's got to be the big, you know, the big. Possibly, I don't know if it'll be a blow off, but you know, it's gonna be the match. I think.
I think it could go to WrestleMania. What I would like to see is like Mustafa Ali, you know, gets beat by Kofi Kingston. He yells at T-Bar, yells at Mace, yells at Slapjack or Flapjack, whatever his name is, for over losing, and then they beat him up because the greatest thing that can happen for all parties involved, I don't care how good Mustafa Ali is on commentary and with his little promos, the very greatest thing that they could possibly do for all 4 of those people right now is to put so much distance as much distance as they possibly can between them and this fucking storyline. It's just been horrible.
Oh yeah, it's horrible, and that would be a good thing for them to just turn on, you know, Ali, because he's pissed that they messed up and stuff. It's the only way to save these guys, because anything else, it's just gonna finish killing them all.
Absolutely. I agree with that 100%. So, moving on with this little show here, as Victoria's taking care of the baby fiend up there, we got your boy Ric Flair out in the ring with Lacey Evans. And Flair is trying, I believe what he's trying to do is cut as good a promo as he possibly can with the material that was given to him. Talking about how his relationship with Lacey Evans is platonic, and he's just here to be a mentor to her, and they're coming for the Raw Women's Championship from Asuka. He said something about him and Tom Brady, but instead he's hearing about his daughter. Like, I didn't totally understand everything that he was saying.
Yeah, I knew he had been because I follow Ric Flair on Facebook and Twitter. He was at the Super Bowl, and he was back there when Tom Brady came in. But it was kind of like, it still was kind of like, I don't get it, and I just don't get this. They're trying to use Ric Flair to get Charlotte over as a face, and it just doesn't work, because he's Ric Flair. People love Ric Flair. Whether he's got this point beyond that, the same thing of Jerry Lawler, whether he's a heel or face, you love him.
Right, and at this point, you know, Ric Flair, who's come back,
it's making Charlotte in some sense looking bad. Like, oh, she's picking on her father, and she's just so awful to her father. You know,
right?
It's like,
and
it makes her look bad.
Oh, she looks horrible in this. She looks terrible. I put on Twitter, I don't understand how she's a face. I don't understand.
And Lacey's supposed to be the heel, and to me, it's like she's off over on the side. It's making, I mean, Lacey, this may be one of her best feuds in a while, but it's making even her look bad, and it's like, ugh. It's just not a feud I get, you know. Especially,
I totally get that. With Lacey Evans though, it's like Charlotte treats her father like garbage, and she treats him with the respect that a legend deserves. Like, who's the heel here? I don't understand. Lacey Evans is actually doing the right thing by, like, who wouldn't want to talk to Ric Flair and get as much knowledge and information as you can? Instead, Charlotte Flair comes out, and she's supposed to be a face, and she tells Lacey Evans, like, you should be at the Performance Center learning how to wrestle, not from the greatest wrestler of all time. What are you doing? Yeah. It's like, imagine, Andrew, you're a young, impressionable wrestler, or a young, aspiring wrestler, and you come up to Charlotte Flair, and they go, oh my God, Charlotte, your dad really wants to give me wrestling lessons. I can't wait to be a wrestler one day. And she tells you, no. You got to go down to the Performance Center and learn from the greatest wrestler of all time, Prince Albert.
Oh, God, yeah.
Like,
oh, my God.
How are you a face if you're telling somebody to get trained by Prince Albert?
Was here in Memphis wrestling, and his first gimmick name was Baldo. Baldo.
Remember when he was the A-Train? It was his finisher was the Baldo Bomb, so he paid a little homage to Memphis there. Yeah,
he was part of Randy Hales, the promoter and thing who was in a feud with Jerry Lawler. And, Randy Hales wanted to be like Vince McMahon, but he was part of Randy Hales' stable of guys, which was basically WWE developmental talent.
Right.
Yeah.
Albert, I think, was trained by what the hell is his name? From XPW out in California, actually.
Yeah. There was a lot of guys that came from out that way.
Yeah, I think him and Draws both came out of there. Remember the guy from Beyond the Mat where he was talking about Mike Modest and the other guy, and he was the big giant promoter that was just taking money from these people, and he was crying that Mike Modest never got a big break or something like that. It was like, oh my God, it was so funny because I remember watching Beyond the Mat with the special commentary on with Terry Funk, and every time Roland something. But every time Roland cried about Mike Modest, Terry Funk laughed on the special commentary. It was so funny.
Yeah.
Anyway, so imagine being told you should be trained by Prince Albert. That's a really great idea. You're the face. Go scratch.
Yeah.
And then they have this match.
Just not mean to interrupt, but it's just this is a feud where it just doesn't work. It just doesn't work. And I don't think you put anybody in it wasn't going to work.
No, you're 100% right about that. This is nobody wants to boo Ric Flair in 2021. Ric Flair, who's over 70, came back from 2 near-death experiences. It's like, let's get real here. We don't want to do that. And then they have this match that they really don't have any chemistry whatsoever with each other. Lacey Evans and Charlotte Flair, they have no chemistry.
No, it's just it's a match where it was boring. It was boring. It dragged. It dragged, and it's like it's just it wasn't. I took my bathroom break then because it was like, oh, this is horrible.
Yeah, it really just kind of it just went on, and then it never stopped. It just kept going on and on and on. And there was nothing about it that would ever make me want to watch it again.
No.
So if they want to do this at Fastlane or something like that, I'm not interested.
No, and the weird, I think that's where we're going because Lacey wins the match on DQ, and now she's going to get a title shot, which is bizarre. A title shot with Asuka, and I think this could Fastlane, but this can possibly set up, if we don't go with Bianca Belair challenging Asuka, this could set up Charlotte against Asuka because this feud gets into, and Asuka is just tired of it.
Yep, absolutely. I've thought from...
I get tired of Charlotte, then Charlotte becomes a heel, and I guess Rick comes back on her side. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know how they're gonna go with it. It's just
I don't know how they're gonna handle it.
Yeah.
But it's I did think when they initially paired up Asuka and Charlotte Flair, I was like, well, this is the WrestleMania match.
Yeah.
That would be really good. That would absolutely be good. I don't know what the hell they do with Lacey Evans, but Charlotte Flair versus Asuka would be a great match, and I think Sasha Banks versus Bianca Belair would be a good match too. And I don't really like Sasha Banks all that much.
Sasha, the only thing is she's kind of good if she's a heel. That's about the best.
Yes.
She's kind of like, and I don't mean to take it on Victoria about the Miz, but she's horrible as a baby face. She just cannot get it over. It's just like, ugh. And I wish Sasha would stop with the Eddie Guerrero. Leave the memories alone. You're killing Ed. You're Eddie's rolling over in his grave. And I'll say this about which I mean Bailey's gotten kind of better, but please leave Randy Savage alone. Please leave the old guy stuff and just leave it to like the
Seriously,
like Rey Mysterio and stuff. Leave it to them and just do your own thing.
I agree. Like everybody's just wanting to be like, oh, the next Eddie Guerrero. Like, be the first you, for God's sake. You know, like nobody's interested in that. It's like they just want to be, you know, they want to play wrestler rather than be a wrestler. That's all I see. And it's like, you know, and you see that clearly, like when I really should be careful because she can still hear me, but like when Edge came out and he cut this promo, I was already talking with Roy on the SmackDown post show, that like if they're going to be doing this thing every week where Edge is like teasing who he's going to choose, that's going to get old really quick. So it seems like they pumped the brakes on that, and he's like, "Oh, I'm not going to make my decision until after Elimination Chamber." So we got like a week break from that, which is nice.
Yeah.
But then you have Miz, John Morrison, and Angel Garza coming out, and you know Miz is doing his thing. He's like, "Oh, you know, I'm always been a strategize." He called himself a strategize instead of a strategizer. Yeah. And he talks about, you know, I'm going to be there to cash in Money in the Bank at WrestleMania. I'm going to be the champion. And Edge cut this promo about like, you know, I need to be champion. You know, I play high stakes poker while you're playing old maid. I'm like, you know, there is something to that. Like,
I busted out laughing about that, and I was like, that Edge is like just, you know, in a little bit of this promo, he's telling these guys, he's been telling these people, you're just not doing, you know, you're just not acting the way that you should be acting. And I'm kind of like, Edge is this guy, I would like to see him be a trainer or something, and at least teach him how to talk and cut promos.
Edge right now is writing storylines for Raw. So
maybe this is why Raw is kind of picking up a little bit. I hope so.
Maybe I don't know.
I don't know. You know, because Vince will cancel everything. You know,
he'll screw it up somehow.
Yeah.
He'll screw it up. It'll get screwed up somehow. But
I think that was like the best promo from like one of the best promo people out there tonight.
No doubt.
Yeah, it just was like, wow. You know, it was like a breath of fresh air of somebody actually cutting a decent promo.
Right. And he was kind of saying like, you know, well, you know, like I'm Edge. I want to be the champion because that's like my main goal in life. Whereas you just want to play, like you're playing wrestler and I am a wrestler. Like that's essentially what he was saying. Oh, great. Here comes Victoria, and she's heard me shit talking the Miz again.
Yeah. But last week he told Drew, like, dude, you should have kicked my head off.
Yes. Yeah. So if he's going to be the one that comes out and kind of like, if he's going to be the one that kind of comes out and critiques like all of the like all the talent and kind of pushes them to be edgier, no pun intended, of course. I think that's a great idea. I think that could really work.
I really hope he lights the fire under a lot of people's bottoms, because it's like butts, because some of these guys need the fire lit under them because they just don't have they just don't seem like they want to be in. They're not into it as much.
Right. I agree. And I'm probably gonna get in trouble for saying this because Victoria's back. Everybody, Victoria is back from the little fiend.
Yeah.
But I mean, so they have Miz cut this promo on Edge, you know, saying like, "Oh, I could leave WrestleMania as the champion." It's like, who? Seriously. Now we all agree that Miz does do a good job. He's very good at what he does. But if anybody in the administration of WWE actually thinks that teasing Mike Mizanin to be anywhere near a WrestleMania main event is going to make people want to see it, they are gravely mistaken. I truly believe nobody wants to see Mike Mizanin anywhere in the vicinity of a WrestleMania main event at this point, when you could be having McIntyre versus Sheamus with Shane McMahon inside, or Drew McIntyre versus Shane McMahon, or Roman Reigns versus Edge. Where does Mike Mizanin fit in there that would be appropriate and make people want to see that match? I ask you, Miss Miz.
You thought Andrew was going to get a brawl after this show tonight? You're definitely getting a brawl.
Mike's
Physical
on the
beatdown.
couch tonight. Mike's on the couch.
A physical beatdown.
Right.
And you know what?
Here's my bed.
No, viewers, this is the small couch. There's a longer couch that would easily fit Mike. You know? But this Mike's going to get the small couch. He doesn't even get the luxury of getting on the nice big comfy couch.
But they do call the small couch the love seat.
Yeah.
You're not getting any love on the love seat, just so you know.
Mike
I don't even know how to respond to that, because that was just straight up like disrespect. That wasn't even like you just wanted to again. You want to do it, Andrew. You just want to poke the bear. You want to see me get pissed off. Listen, you can talk crap all you want about the Miz.
I asked you a serious question.
I'm answering actually seriously. You could talk crap all you want. Maybe in this sort of the whole thing he has with Morrison right now, yeah, it's goofy. It's supposed to like just be annoying and whatever. But I think we have to stop pretending that Miz can't be like in that role.
Well, he can't be in that role right now when he's doing jobs to Bad Bunny. Okay? No. He's losing to everybody. Nobody wants to see Miz in the main event or even teased to be in the main event.
So then what's your solution then? I'm curious.
They already had the solution. They took the Money in the Bank off of him and then they gave it back to him for no reason.
Okay. So I don't know. Then you really like.
I see what I could see happening. I think the best solution for all parties involved.
Okay.
Drew McIntyre makes it through Elimination Chamber. They send the Miz out there to cash in Money in the Bank. It's a brief little pit stop on the road to WrestleMania. You can do Fastlane. That Fastlane is going to be the first pay-per-view on the Peacock Network. You do a title change there with Drew McIntyre getting the title back from the Miz, and then he goes to WrestleMania to face Sheamus. Like that's how you do it.
I mean, honestly, it's going to be, and I'm not trying to hurt Victoria's feelings or anything, it's going to be a short run with Miz if he gets the title. I mean, I was wanting him, if Goldberg beat Drew, or even if Drew was so bad, was like, why don't you pull the trigger and let Miz cash in tonight? But, they didn't. But, I mean, I see maybe Elimination Chamber, which, we can talk a little bit that later, because I think there's a bunch of stuff that's going to be happening in that match. It's just going to be, a lot of programs are going to come out of that match, at least possibly WrestleMania programs. But, I mean, it's going to be a short run if they pull the trigger on Miz being champion. It's not going to be a long run. I
agree.
I think if they would have pulled it on Otis, it would have been a short run with Otis. There was not going to be a long run for anybody with this. And, I mean, even if they have somebody lose, I've always said, I think it's always been this thing of having some of these people lose, because it's not a knock on John Cena, but it is a little bit of a knock on John Cena. Because John Cena lost, it's like, oh, we can't just have John Cena be the only person who lost. Cash in.
Right. So they had Damien Sandow lost too.
Yeah. And Edge ripped that Kennedy because, Kennedy, Mr. Kennedy.
Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah, he got him, and that was because Kennedy was thought he was going to be out longer, and he told him, "Oh, I'm going to be out longer," and then he found out, "Oh, it's not that bad. My injury's not that bad."
I always think that the WWE doctor, I think that they had buyer's remorse on Ken Kennedy, who won Money in the Bank in 2008. Oh, no, or was it 2000? When was it? 2006 or 2008?
I can't. Right off the top of my head, I can't remember, but I know he was. Wasn't he like the first?
Oh, no. It was 2007, and he was going to cash it in the main event of WrestleMania 24 or something.
Yeah, because isn't he like the first one to ever like lose, not actually lose cashing in, but actually just lose the
briefcase? Yes, he is.
Yes.
He is. Yeah, he lost it to Edge, and then Edge cashed it in on the Undertaker when he was injured or whatever. yeah, man, oh man, like they had such buyer's remorse on poor Ken Kennedy. He really thought that he was gonna main event WrestleMania 24, and I still think to this day that the WWE doctors, just told him that he was gonna be injured for a lot longer than he was. It's like, oh no, sorry, we read your MRI again. Oh, he lost the briefcase. Oh, that's too bad.
Yeah.
It's like I think there was some tomfoolery there.
Yeah, and he was never the same. He was never the same after that.
There was some good tomfoolery in this match with Angel Garza and Damian Priest. I gotta tell you, I wasn't in the Bad Bunny song, but in terms of like celebrity interactions with WWE, it's nice to have a celebrity that really likes the product and gets the product and understand how things are done. He was good in this. Like the little things that they're giving him, he's doing a good job with them. Now, it's only been a week or 8 days, 9 days, whatever it's been, but he's done a nice job. And I think, they're definitely setting up for Damian Priest and Bad Bunny versus Miz and Morrison at WrestleMania. I think that's actually, I think he's going to train enough where it's going to be pretty darn good.
Yeah, I wonder if they might get Booker T involved in, at least maybe being Damian Priest and Bad Bunny's corner, because I kind of would like to see Booker T get involved, but I don't think they would have Booker T actually wrestling a match, although he might still could go a little bit. But
well, yeah, and also, I mean, they seem to get Angel Garza involved in this tonight. He came out with Miz and Morrison. He seemed to align himself with them. So, I mean, you can do a 6-man tag: Damian Priest, Booker T, and Bad Bunny versus Garza, Miz, and Morrison.
Sometimes you do need those fun matches for WrestleMania too, to kind of like, those in betweens that they're not like, obviously they're not meant to be your main event, and they're not meant to be. They're just fun. You need a fun match at WrestleMania, and that could potentially be a fun match for those individuals. In all seriousness, when it comes to the Miz, I do genuinely believe that I do, and again, this is just like a personal preference. I wish they would give him like a serious run at the shot. I do agree with the both of you. Anything that they do with the cash-in at this point, obviously would have to be very short, because the goal is to have Drew McIntyre with that championship.
And you also
forcing somebody with
and Money in the Bank 2021 is going to come up before you know it.
Right. So and I do agree with that. I do feel like it's a short, title run but I just wish that they would give him a serious long run, like an actual, like, again, you're not gonna get somebody like Drew McIntyre. They're two different individuals. I personally would just love. And again, it's not just because, like, I just enjoy him, but I really do believe that he's deserving of it. Mm-hmm. So, but again, that's a personal preference there. But I would like to see him, he brings out the best in people, I feel. So if you're going to have somebody like Bad Bunny who is actually going to be potentially wrestling at WrestleMania, Miz is your guy.
Oh, yeah. Miz will take care of him.
And
he'll also take care of him.
Take care of him in the ring and, like, kind of ease the water a little bit for him to comfortably be in a match, being that he's never done this before.
Right.
So, I'm for that. I'm for it. As long as it's going to, I'm good for fun. Like, I don't need everything to be, like, serious at all times. Like, everything's got to be like, oh, this is on the line. This is whatever. No, like, throw a fun match in there.
One of the things about, like, Miz, I don't know why they haven't really ever had much trust in him. The Jerry Lawler feud was to actually get him over. At one point, they were, like, talking about, we don't really want to even stick with Miz as champion. They actually thought about putting the WWE title on Jerry Lawler and have Jerry Lawler go into WrestleMania as the champion.
I would have signed up for that, actually.
Yeah.
I would have loved to have seen that.
The thing, if they would have done it, I would like, is Jerry Lawler bringing the unified world title out and saying he's unifying the belt and to become the real world champion. And like Ric Flair done, but I just don't know why they just don't pull the trigger on Miz.
He's always utilize for somebody else. Like, obviously, when he had his title run back,
he was a placeholder.
He was
really.
a placeholder. We knew that, and
he was the third man in the match with only two people, him and John Cena, but The Rock was around.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It was, and he gained a lot of respect. I feel that night, being that he was concussed really badly, and he still continued. I mean, he had no recollection of anything that night.
You are right about that.
But moving on.
Anyway, it should be interesting. The Bad Bunny stuff could be pretty darn good, and I can't believe I'm saying that.
Yeah.
Riddle versus Keith Lee here. We got Riddle versus Keith Lee. Apparently, they didn't explicitly say it, but this is for like the number one contendership for the United States title. This was actually a really good match. This really surprised me, because Keith Lee's been off. I think he was quarantining because Mia Yim has the COVID, and he was quarantined as well. I wasn't sure how he was going to come back, and they had I thought they had for the time that they were given. I thought Riddle and Keith Lee had a really, really good match here, and it was fun. They did some good stuff. It was all action, and they had great chemistry. I know that these guys have wrestled each other a bunch of times before. But this is their first time in WWE wrestling. But my favorite part of this was the Bobby Lashley beatdown after.
Yeah.
I thought that was so well done. I thought Lashley looked like an animal there. Like, I really wonder, like, what is the plan for Bobby Lashley at WrestleMania? Could they bypass Sheamus altogether and do Bobby Lashley versus Drew McIntyre at WrestleMania?
The thing with Drew McIntyre and this whole thing is that it really could be anybody.
Right.
And it could work.
Yes.
It could work with Sheamus, and it could work with Lashley.
Right.
The biggest thing, they were talking about why they brought Goldberg in is because they couldn't see anybody against Drew at Royal Rumble. And I'm like, you really couldn't? And even now, it's kind of like you can't find the guys. You can't see the guys that you could put against Drew. You just can't see them. But man, Bobby Lashley, I don't know, he's just got fire lit under him now. And I'm just like, man, this is a guy, he's your go-to guy in the future. I really think he's got a potential title run in the future. He's just one of the go-to guys I think you can go to.
Well, Bobby Lashley's, other than the ECW title, he's never even been a champion. So there's, he could get a really good run with the title and be a real good monster heel, the kind that Vince loves to book. We know that.
But I mean, that match tonight, that was a really good, enjoyable match. It was just, man, Big Lee, Keith Lee being a big hoss like he is. It's just like, wow. It was just a really good match.
Yeah, it was really good, and it actually led us, like the beatdown was so good, it led to them booking Bobby Lashley versus Keith Lee and Riddle at Elimination Chamber. So like that, I think that's going to be just an excellent match. I think that could be a sleeper hit. I think the Chamber matches, are, especially the WWE title match, is going to be good. Whatever other Chamber match they do will probably be good as well. Mm-hmm. But I think Lashley versus Keith Lee versus Riddle, unless they have Bobby Lashley destroy them, which very well could happen. Maybe they're setting Bobby Lashley up for Brock Lesnar or something like that. Who knows? But that could be a really good match if they give it time and let it build. It could be really, really good.
Yeah.
Okay. So I made a comment on Twitter about the match we're going to talk about next, which is a tables match with Nia Jax and Lana. I think everybody knows by this point I am beyond done with Lana and Nia Jax and that whole entire thing. And I kind of said that on Twitter as well. Like, even though Lana won this match, Nia Jax powerbombed her twice, gave her a giant stretch muffler, just killing her really badly. Like, those powerbombs were stiff, Andrew. I mean, those were stiff powerbombs. Yeah. But I initially was just kind of dismissed the match, but when I rewound something, I was like, did I hear what I thought I heard? When Nia Jax missed the leg drop on the apron, and she just screams, "My butt!" And then she goes, "Oh, my hole!"
Yeah, I think that's what she was saying. That, or that was hilarious because it was like, oh man,
That was so fun. Like I couldn't believe like Nia Jax, say what you want about her. I don't think she's that great of a pro wrestler because, a pro wrestler should never hurt anybody they're in the ring with, let alone multiple times she's hurt people in the past. But she knows what she has to do to get over with the old man. And the old man loves butt jokes, poop jokes, the whole thing. Vince loves all that stuff. So her screaming, "My butt, my hole," Nia Jax could very well be facing Asuka at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
I have to be completely honest. I missed this entire thing because I was like looking at it as like, oh God, let me go. Literally, I'm like literally go to the bathroom like during this time, go get a snack. So I will have to go back since Mike records, Raw. I'm gonna have to go back and watch that because now I am very interested in watching that.
it was pretty funny.
Yeah.
And then of course they followed up with a match that's like the definition of just like, oh, we have to fill some time. So Naomi versus Shayna Baszler. There you go. Like Naomi comes back, 8 days ago after a long layoff, and she's already back to being the afterthought. She's not even the star of the tag team. Lana's the star. It's like, come on. Naomi's never going to catch a break.
I love
Yeah.
her. And
I have two things about that. One thing about Naomi and then one thing about Lana. Naomi's thing, I kind of think it was, she's married to Jim. Is it Jimmy, right? She's married to Jimmy.
Jimmy, yep.
Yeah. All the stuff that he pulled, I think it's guilt by association, and it's like that's why they killed
For
everything
sure.
that Naomi is because of Jimmy. And then
I
the
agree.
thing about Lana, and I have this crazy thing, is that because Miro was running his mouth online about they're burying my wife because of me, and they're burying. I think like WWE was like, oh, let's just push Lana to say Miro's stupid and he doesn't know what he's talking
Yes.
about. We're pushing
Andrew,
her
I
to
couldn't
do
agree
that.
more with both of those statements. I think that like I said, you just hit the nail on the head with both those statements. Naomi's suffering consequences from Jimmy Uso's actions in the previous years, past couple years or so, and Lana, and now they're gonna show that like, oh, we're not fazed by you AEW, we're not fazed by you leaving, like your wife's taken care of. She's gonna make sure that she stays in that little circle of women in the division. I could not agree more.
Yeah.
Honestly.
That is how it came off. That initially they were, and then they started just like giving her random title matches, just to say like, no, see, we're not burying her.
She's good. She's good. She's with Nia
Everything's all
Jax
good there.
Yeah, she's getting like the
Main event is Randy Orton versus Drew McIntyre. We've seen this before, but they have such good chemistry. Like I really, they were kind of on a time crunch a little bit, and I was fully expecting some kind of Alexa Bliss Fiend bullshit thing. And none of that. They didn't even mention Alexa Bliss. And meanwhile, Alexa Bliss cost Randy Orton his blow off match with Edge.
Yeah.
No mention of them whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, other than Randy Orton saying that he set the Fiend on fire, which was just like, that's how I end my feuds. It's like, yeah, thank God. I hope it is over. But no Alexa Bliss, no bullshit magic, nothing. This was just a straight up good match. Yeah, they had Sheamus out there, but like, that's fine.
That's fine.
I can totally live with that finish that they did there because number one, they're building towards Elimination Chamber.
Yep.
The champion shouldn't be losing. Randy Orton shouldn't be losing because they're going to be the ones that are going to be in it. And Sheamus needs to assert himself as an actual contender.
Yeah, exactly.
Because the trigger was pulled so randomly on him. Like of course we knew he was going to turn on him, but it was just so random when they did it. This was just a really good main event. Everything made sense. I was fine with the DQ finish. And the biggest plus is that there was no fucking Fiend bullshit.
Yeah, I was sitting there waiting, and I was looking at time, and then when Randy Orton did that, where he always hulks up for the RKO, I was like, I'm waiting for
Me
the
too.
lights to start going out, and this is how it's going to end, and they didn't, and I was like, oh.
Isn't that terrible that we're conditioned to just think of this one character that's going to come in and ruin the whole show? You're just waiting for the like how jaded are we that we're watching the show just thinking in our heads they've had a great show and now they're going to ruin it. It's like that. That's the mindset.
Yeah. And then I was also like, guys, how are you gonna get? You better get this thing in on time because y'all can't go. Unless y'all talk to USA about maybe going over, you can't go over.
I swear, Andrew, I always check because sometimes they do an overrun and it'll be reflected in the TV guide. I actually checked the TV guide when it was like 11:58. I was like, well, they're gonna bring out Alexa Bliss or the Fiend. Let me see, like, how are they going? Like did they get an overrun here? But they didn't. I was like, oh my god, wow, they're really running quick on time. But no bullshit tonight. I was extremely happy about that. I was extremely happy about that.
But of course, since you didn't get your fix, I had to wear my themed ugly Christmas sweater.
There you go.
Yeah.
I'm so happy.
No, honestly, I do like the Fiend. I like it. It's a horror character, and it does not work in professional wrestling. Horror characters don't work. Horror characters storylines does not work. I'm disappointed because the way I felt they were going with Bray was that he created this character out of a mental health breakdown.
Right.
And that's where it came from. And it's kind of how it seemed like it was going to go. And then it was like, when they really did this, oh my God, it's invisible. Oh, great, we just put Michael Myers. We put Michael Myers or Jason in, and then, and then the stupidest thing is like, oh, only a spear can beat the Fiend, and that's the only move that harms the Fiend is a spear.
I know, it's so goofy. And it's like, you're right. I mean, like we've talked about it before on the show, where it's like, they could have gone with it in a really interesting direction, and instead they went like this totally lazy route, and then they booked themselves into a corner where it's like, okay, well, we put him over so much that now, how do you beat him? How do you beat him convincingly? There's nobody that can beat this guy convincingly. And oh my God, I'll puke in my mouth like if they ever did McIntyre versus the Fiend at Mania.
Yeah.
But I actually think they're going to do the Randy Orton Fiend blow off at Mania.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is, and oh God, it may end up ruining the Elimination Chamber, but I think the Fiend attacks Randy Orton in the Elimination Chamber.
Me too.
And the thing is that when they did that red light stuff, I was there at that last SmackDown that before the COVID strike, and oh God, that red light stuff is horrible. You cannot see anything going on. And then they had that screeching noise going on. It's just horrible.
Yeah, it's a really bad presentation, and again, like they had a chance to go somewhere else with it and make it really good, and they really did botch it.
But coming out of Chamber, I think where we're getting some of the WrestleMania storylines, I think at least the Fiend and Orton, that's gonna be, and probably some kind of cinematic match or something.
How do you do a cinematic match though when you have a paying crowd there now?
Yeah, it's gonna be kind of. I mean, it's kind of weird. I know Doug has been in our whiteboard sessions been saying cinematic, but I'm kind of like, I don't really know how you're gonna do it. That you just, I think the crowd would just shit all over, and it just wouldn't work. But there's some kind of, maybe it's a casket or buried alive match. But I think that is, and then Sheamus and Drew could be. I don't know. I guess Fastlane. I don't know about WrestleMania. They may go that way, or they may go Bobby Lashley, or if they can find think of somebody else for Drew to go up. But that's about those are some of the things. Probably Miz might cash in after the match, even though he's been he is in the match. He may cash in after the match on tired and hurt Drew. But I mean. But at least I can pull out two storylines that probably going into WrestleMania will come out of that match.
Right.
My biggest wonder is what is the other, are they going to have two Elimination Chambers, and what the other Elimination Chamber match is going to be?
I think I don't know if they put Roman Reigns in the Elimination Chamber. I don't know. I don't think they're going to do that.
I can look at. I possibly. I don't know if the either tag titles or maybe the SmackDown Women's title might put it in the Elimination Chamber. I'm not sure. One thing it could possibility is if they did the women's, they could have Rhea Ripley finally debut on the main roster in the Elimination Chamber or something like that. If they do want to bring her on,
I would like to see that. Yeah, maybe they do the SmackDown Women's title in the Elimination Chamber. I think that'd be a really good thing, or the Raw Women's title in the Elimination Chamber. But Raw already has one, so yeah, you have to figure that out. But those are really good ideas too. I kind of like those ideas. All right, everybody, we are the show's running a little long here, but let's check the poll. What does everybody give this show? You give it a thumbs up or a thumbs down? Let us know.
I give it a thumbs up.
You give it a thumbs up?
Yeah, I do.
All right.
It's not a bad show.
All right. Oh, I was going to ask Andrew first because he's our guest, but since you just jumped in there like that.
Why not? Hello.
Why not you?
It's fine. I give it a thumbs up. Other than that Lacey and Charlotte match, that's the only thing that drug, and it was a pretty good show, and no thing garbage is good.
Exactly. 72%. We'll get there at some point. Oh, reconnection successful. Now we're back. Okay. So it's gonna bring us back any second now.
Yeah, we're back. Yeah, we are back.
All right, so we're back. I guess YouTube just kind of died on us for a second, but we're signing off anyway. So we just finished that up. So we give it a thumbs up. Good show.
And this show always thumbs up. This show is always thumbs up. Even when Raw sucks, this show is thumbs up.
Thank you, Andrew. Thank you very much. All right, everybody. I'm Mike Tedesco, the Editor-in-Chief of Wrestleview.com.
I'm Victoria Tedesco.
And that's Andrew Elder. Thank you, Andrew. Have a good night, everybody.
Thanks for having me on.
Be well, everybody. Take care.